Yo.
Good morning, chat.
Can you send something in the chat so I can make sure the overlay works?
Chat.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. It's just us. Nice.
We don't have our overlay testers here today like we usually do.
How you doing, Tony?
I'm hanging in there.
Nice. Me too, brother. Yeah, so today we're going to do more of... Tony, you were building a level design tool last week. You ran into some snags, so we're going to continue along that path. Tony figured them out off stream, so he's going to talk through some of that stuff. We got some gaming news. Let's see. I think the first one that I wanted to talk about that I was kind of into that I saw today is that there's a Final Fantasy Tactics remake that's happening, and I'm excited about that because I loved that game back in the day. So I would like to see a modern version with like a lot of the really cool shit that like Octopath Traveler had. Hey, there's Omni. First, yeah, you got it, bro. I was technically first with my message that said chat, but you can be first because I don't count. So yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics is going to be, it's being remade. But Squeenix confirmed that the original code was lost and that the new game is a full remake from the ground up. And I guess they were saying that the reason that happened is because it was just the norm at the time. They didn't have resource management tools available that we do today. And they developed games by essentially overwriting the previous code each time they fixed a bug or added a new language. So they've basically lost all the source code and there wasn't a way to like bring it forward, which is interesting. So it's potentially going to be a new game. I don't know how I feel about that. But it is Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, classic and enhanced version of the original game. So I'm assuming they're going to use like old art assets if they could like find those and keep those. Since the classic version was intended to recreate the original game, we did have the option to implement it using an emulator. However, this method wouldn't have allowed us to make granular refinements, even if the objective was to recreate the original game. After our analysis, we felt the best way to ensure the game... whoa, I just got ads all over the place and can't even fucking read
the ads on this site I'm on right now that I have up on screen are egregious. Oh my god.
This one just took over full screen and just was like, now it's an ad.
Oh yeah, I got this Acura thing that's covering up half the page and there's nothing I can do about it.
This is
crazy.
Fucked, man. Okay, so best way to ensure the game met modern playability standards while staying true to the original was to rebuild the game from the ground up. So for any of you who are unaware, Tactics came out in 1997. So we're looking at that, over 20-year-old game, which is cool.
The theory about
I don't
never remade Bloodborne is that they lost the source code like that too. It's never been, of course, never been.
Yeah, I'm sure,
but I've always heard that rumor.
So. I don't think that's true. It's got to be like hold this until the deal's right, and then we'll do it. This is annoying, but they end the article with, in a recent interview, the game's original scriptwriter claimed that the game's political message is still relevant 30 years later. Like, it didn't really have a political message. Yes, it was somewhat political, but it was talking about like an aristocracy and a kingdom and like the, how power can corrupt singular people in charge and like there's magic and shit. So I don't really understand how this has like a modern day political parallel. Anyway, that aside, Splitgate 2 is unlaunching, which is kind of funny, but like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Apparently they went live with the game too soon. They're going to lay off some people. They said they're doing everything they can to not, to retain as many people as they can. But yeah, they were basically saying they launched it too early. They couldn't execute on any of the things that they really wanted to do at launch, and they were potentially catching some heat because of it. To quote the guy, I guess it's the founders. They did an interview. We launched too early. We had ambitious goals with Splitgate 2, and our excitement to share it, we bit off more than we could chew. We rushed certain features, made some boneheaded mistakes, and most importantly, we didn't give you a polished, portal-filled mayhem that you fell in love with the original game. So the game's going back into beta. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means like you're playing Splitgate now and you can't anymore. Though they did say the servers are going to go offline as they like work on rebuilding the core experience.
I think it's the Splitgate 1 servers that they're taking offline. So it says, in an effort to retain as many team members as possible, we're also going to be shutting down OG Splitgate servers in a month. While we'd love to keep these servers online indefinitely, it costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past couple of years, and we have to prioritize our team. It's weird. It's almost like they shouldn't make a law that forces companies to keep these things live forever because they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like us, we know this game means a lot to so many of you, so we're exploring the possibility of supporting offline or peer-to-peer matches. Cool.
That seems good.
That's good, but I mean, like, they gotta do some work on their old game when they have their new game that they're unlaunching in order to accommodate that, and that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
When we return, we plan to have a dedicated experience in Splitgate 2 that delivers on the promise of the original. In the meantime, Splitgate 2 will remain playable and will still be shipping Chapter 3 as well as fixes and high priority changes. We hope you will continue to play the game and support the game. As always, please keep the feedback coming.
All right. They're doing some shit. I mean, like, okay.
Self-published game? I don't remember.
Yeah. These guys are... They're kind of like the Riot guys, if that makes sense, where like the Riot guys played Dota in college and like loved Dota, so they wanted to go make their own Dota, but they're not game devs. I think this guy like taught himself game dev instead of being a business person that hired a bunch of people like the Riot guys did. So I'm pretty sure that's it, but I could totally be wrong on that.
I was just wondering about like the business model behind all of this, because the first game is free to play, second game is free to play. They do have lots of founders packs. They're $40, $20 for the first game, and there's a $60 one for the second game. But I guess I'm just saying it's impressive to me that they were able to fund, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past years on server costs, develop an entirely new game that seems, pretty expensive, just looking at it probably. And all of that just on one free-to-play title for their company. Like, that is impressive, and it sucks that they kind of fumbled as hard as they have, but hopefully they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think that they probably will, because they're, doing their own thing, so they've got some leeway to make these kinds of decisions. You would never unlaunch a game with, like, a formal traditional publisher partnership because they wouldn't let you. They would be like, nah, you can't do that.
That's true.
Because we're already making money. We got to keep the printer going because we have all these other things in motion that we can't stop. So it's an advantage. I think Splitgate, it's not necessarily for me. I played Splitgate 1, but I know that there's a community that really loves that game, and I think this is probably really good for the game. I don't know if it's good for the studio. It's obviously not good for the people who are going to lose their jobs, but that's the way it goes. That's this business. It's volatile. There's no stability in it.
It is Unreal. Okay, I was wondering about that.
It is Unreal?
It's Unreal, yeah. The first one's UE4 and the new one's UE5.
Sweet. Let's see. Do I have anything else in that vein? There's a review for Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2. I don't really care about that.
It's been out for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's the Switch 2 edition, I guess.
The Switch 2 edition. Got
it. New rules and excellent mouse games, apparently. Microsoft is no longer going to charge $80 for Outer Worlds 2, so it seems like the gamers have spoken enough on $80 titles to be like, stop fucking doing this, and I think people are hearing that and potentially stopping that, which is good.
When I read this earlier, the first thought in my mind was, I don't know if making it $70 instead of $80 is going to make a very big difference, but maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just don't think that game is going to do very well at maybe any price. I don't know.
I don't know either, man. Yeah, I know that I interviewed at Obsidian to work on Outer Worlds, and I was not feeling it. I exited the interview loop myself. I just did not enjoy the direction the conversation was going in.
It's a game I
bad.
legitimately installed and I think maybe didn't even play for 15 minutes and went, not for me, and just completely uninstalled and stopped playing.
Yep, same.
Yeah.
So, let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, okay. So I'm really excited for this. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So the first weekend in August is Evo. So I'm really fucking excited for that. Lots of fighting game stuff. That'll be really fun to check out. But
New
alongside
Marvel
of that,
fighting game, right?
yes, and that's what I wanted to read. Let me grab this article real quick.
So I've been seeing these clips go around of Vi from League of Legends / Arcane in a fighting game. Is that this game?
I don't think so. But I could be wrong here, but I know Riot was working on a fighting game in their IPs. This is a couple of years ago. They were also working on an MMO. They were doing a bunch of other shit. And out of that whole initiative came the Arcane TV show. So, there's potentially some good stuff. I know the MMO has been canceled. I don't know if the fighting game's been canceled. Okay. PlayStation and Arc System Works Marvel game will debut at Evo. So we're getting a new Marvel, potentially a good one because it's Arc that's making it. I know, what was the last Marvel? It was like Infinity. That was not good. It was not in the correct spirit of Marvel games. The good Marvel game that came out somewhat recently, and this is like 10 years ago or more, was Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate. So hopefully we get something cool here. 4-character team from a roster of 6 playable Marvel Legends. Interesting. Oh, so this is the demo at Evo. So they're premiering it at Evo with a demo. Attendees will be able to duke it out with their friends and construct their very own 4-character team from a roster of 6 playable Marvel Legends, including Captain America, Iron Man, Storm, and Star-Lord, Miss Marvel, and Doctor Doom. It's called Fighting Souls.
Star-Lord. Okay, I was trying to figure out who these characters are supposed to be, and I could not figure that one out.
Oh, which one is Star-Lord? Upper left? Bottom left. Bottom left.
Upper left is Iron Man, Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Not sure. Storm, Captain America, of course.
That's gonna be Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Okay.
Yeah. The stretchy girl from
stretchy one. Okay. Yep,
yeah.
Got it.
Not Captain. There's too many Marvel named characters. There's like 4 or 5.
Yep. And so I looked, and the Vi thing is 2XKO.
The what thing?
So they're putting Vi from League of Legends in a fighting
game.
Yeah. 2XKO. I got it up on the screen right now if you want to see it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It kind of looks like Guilty Gear, maybe.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. So from what I've heard, hey, what's up, LFQ? From what I've heard from like people I know and articles I've seen about it, is that this game is really good. I don't know if that's true because there's no like publicly playable version. No one's ever seen anything other than marketing materials. So
it looks like it is closed beta at Evo. Yeah.
That's sick. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. It looks like it is a fighting game. I don't know. I mean, I know it's hard to look at a fighting game in a video and know if it's any good, but
it looks like it's probably going to be good. And I know that Riot does not fuck around with stuff. Like they're willing to spend, 6 years on an MMO and hire some crazy talent and then be like, this is not working, and then throw it away. I think Legends of Runeterra was a cool, Hearthstone-like, but it maybe just missed the market. I think people were kind of falling out of Hearthstone time when that came out. But I liked it. I thought it was cool. I played Legends of Runeterra. Sorry, I was a bit late. Wasn't at my PC. It's all good, LFQ. We love it when you're here, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Evo next week, or not next week. A week from Friday. is when Evo starts, so that'll be really fun. If you guys like fighting games and you haven't seen Evo, very worth watching. It's cool ass shit. Let's see, what else do I have other than that? There was a Pokemon thing.
Want to do theme park or animated series first?
Theme park. Pokemon's upcoming theme park was inspired by isolation during the pandemic, says Junichi Masuda. The Pokemon Company's new chief, blah blah. Pokepark Kanto region will be open next year as part of Yomiuri Land, a theme park in Japan. Okay, so it's like a section of a theme park, kind of like Universal Studios or something, is my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me too. Yeah.
That sounds interesting. I was conscious of the idea of people. Yeah, go ahead. No, you're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I remember when I went to Japan, they actually had a theme park that was called Pallet Town that had a bunch of Pokemon stuff in it, but I know it's not there anymore, and it's very sad.
AAA says Riot MMO canceled. Thought they scrapped and started over. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's just canceled. I think they scrapped it, started over, and then about a year later just canceled the project. I know that let's see, he was a raid designer when I was at Bungie, but he left and went to Riot as the creative director on the MMO, and then went back to Bungie about a year and a half later as the associate creative director of Destiny, something like that. This is Joe Blackburn. I don't think he's there anymore. I think he's moved on to something else entirely. I don't know. I don't follow dude's career, but I know he was there. He did work on the MMO.
Apparently, they announced a new direction, basically that they're starting over. Yeah, and it says resetting our development path also means we'll be going dark for a long time, likely several years. Silence will help provide a space for the team to focus on the incredible amount of work ahead of them. No news is good news, as it means we're hard at work, pouring our hearts and souls into making something we hope you'll love. It does look like they had some turnover in this upper part that probably lines up with what you're talking about, because they have a new executive producer when they made this change. And
when is the what's the date of this Reddit article?
March 20th, 2024. So about a year
ago. All right. I assume it's just going to be canceled. I don't know how you reboot an MMO.
Yeah.
But maybe they just strongly believe that's a way they need to go for the business. I don't know. Don't know. But those dudes have, I don't know, some large chunk of their company is owned by Tencent, so they got a lot of money and they make a lot of money. League of Legends is still very successful, so I assume that if this is really what they think they want to do and their investors agree, then they're going to probably keep going with it. Let's see. So Pokemon theme park.
Yep.
Pokemon events have largely been canceled for a period of time after the pandemic. Wanted to create a place where people could gather at any time. People and Pokemon could enjoy themselves together. When I thought about giving back to the fans, we've loved Pokemon for the past 30 years. I thought it would be fun if there was a place where you can meet Pokemon anytime. There's going to be a Pokemon Center, a Pokemart, and a Pokemon Gym in the theme park.
Interesting that they're saying Kanto, and then in like the artwork, you really only see like original 250 Pokemon.
That is Kanto.
I would have said original. Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying like it's interesting that they're saying like we're only going to do like a subset of Pokemon, and we're not just going to do like Pokemon and just have like whatever the hell we want. Like we're going to limit ourselves to like the ones in this region.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to, because there's what, like 1,000 Pokemon now or some shit like that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, wait, no. According to Masuda, over 600 Pokemon will feature in the park.
Yeah, but it says, while not clarified in the interview, this number likely refers to the total number of Pokemon, not species, as Kanto region only features 151 species. Though I will say that there's a Mimikyu in this, and like what's the weasel thing called? I can't remember. Some of these are like gold things though, which would mean that it's not 151. It's definitely like 252 or something. If I remember correctly.
Okay.
But anyways,
you got some Sneasel screenshots or what?
I'm looking at the artwork at the top of that article that you're reading, and just looking. Yeah, no, and here's like the monkey guy. I want to say that's Gen 3. I don't know.
Which monkey guy?
The top right
Apom. Yeah, Apom in the upper right. Yeah, you're right. That's not original 151.
I don't even think that's gold. I think that's like after gold.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though. Yeah. My Pokemon nerddom really falls off hard after gold. So
trying to see.
I'll go to this other Pokemon link that we have too. The Wallace and Gromit people are making an animated Pokemon series. Should be interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, why do they choose to do this shit with the IP? It's so weird. They made more than 151. Yeah, I mean, based LFQ. But I do like Torchic and Chikorita and Totodile. Yep. Those guys are dope. AAA says, I wouldn't be surprised if it was canceled though. I think some of those vids by Necrit built some high levels of hype. I don't know who that is. That may be impossible to bring to life. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with content creators looking at reacting to shit, is that they set unrealistic expectations for the audience because they have nothing to do with the people who are making the actual thing. So I don't know. I mean, like, technically we're content creators in this aspect, right? But like, I don't know, man. You can't go off of like what someone made. Like, someone made a video on speculating on some shit that they don't know about. That seems weird to me. That's why you got to be careful watching stuff on the internet. What's up, Brightside? But if you do choose to watch things on the internet, you should watch Fractal Grove and you should watch Brightside Movement.
I think this Necrit person did interviews with developers and stuff at a point in time. So like they got a lot of like hype and statements out there and then changed everything supposedly. I don't know. I'm just kind of like Googling real quick and that's kind of what it looks like to me.
Yeah, his like top video that got 2 million views is him talking about Riot's MMO. And it shows like the WoW cinematic. It shows RuneScape. It shows Ultima. Like, he's got every MMO in this thing. So I don't know. I'm still skeptical about that shit. We're talking about video game stuff. Brightside, are you into fighting games at all, or anyone in chat? If you guys are into fighting games, Evo is not this weekend, but a week from Friday. So August 1st through 3rd is the event. I'm definitely gonna be watching it. I love Evo, so that'll be really fun. There's a new Marvel game that's going to be shown at Evo. There's the Riot League of Legends fighting game that's gonna be shown at Evo. I think those are kind of the two big announcements. I don't know that there's anything else other than just Evo being Evo. It'll be cool. I don't even know what events they're going to be, like what games they're going to be playing. So
Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Fatal Fury, City of Wolves, Guilty Gear Strive, Grand Blue, Fantasy vs. Rising, Under Night in Birth 2, Sis Celis, Mortal Kombat 1, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Under Night in Birth is such a weird fucking game name.
That's a good one.
That's an anime fighter, I think. I think you play like high school kids.
No Melty Blood this time.
Yeah, no Melty Blood.
Yep. But we do have BlazBlue Central Fiction.
It's BlazBlue, Tony.
Oh, okay. Well, they should probably put an E in the end of it and write their English words correctly then.
It's a Japanese developer. They can do what they want. Yo, LFQ, you got the toothbrush. Let's fucking go, dude. How are you feeling it? Is it weird so far? Are you like, what the fuck?
Made like affiliate links or something. You were
I know, right?
Toothbrushes that day.
Yeah, I need to get some new brush heads myself, but yeah, I love that toothbrush.
My contribution to the toothbrush discussion would be that getting a water pick is probably the biggest game changer dental wise for me that I ever did. So
Is it just because you hate flossing or what?
I don't really like flossing, and like, I don't know, I just find the water pick less annoying to have to do, and I think it does a really good job, and it's like kind of grossly satisfying when you like blast a bunch of shit out of your teeth. So
water pick is pretty sweet, says Adder. All right. You guys are I like. Okay, so there's two kinds of floss. Not to get back into this, there's two kinds of floss. One is Teflon tape, which you use to like seal fucking plumbing stuff and like fixtures in a bathroom. And I fucking hate that shit because it like tears in between my teeth and whatnot. And I'm not trying to get like Teflon in my teeth. So I like the waxed thread. That is better. But anyway, flossing is important. You guys should also floss. I understand it's a fucking pain in the ass and no one wants to floss, but it will make your gums way happier.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like I need to learn to use it. I don't feel it cleaning as much as I want. You might be pressing too hard, LFQ, and you don't brush. So you just kind of like, you'll find a spot where you can feel the bristles like moving across your teeth. That's the pressure you want. It's pretty light. And then you just kind of move your brush head around and go to the timer.
Doesn't it have an app that will like, map your mouth and like show you the areas you've gotten and stuff? Like, I don't use it because it's like I don't want to open a phone app every time I brush my teeth. That got really annoying like the third time I did it. But the first few times you use it, I think it might be good if the one that you got does have the app. It has like a 3D model of your mouth on it, and it can sense where your toothbrush is, and it'll like show you where you should be through the cycle, and that might just help you kind of understand how to use it a little better the first few times.
Yeah, Sparkle Loser has that one. Mine is like almost 10 years old, if not older than that at this point, and mine didn't come with the app, but it still works just great. So like,
the app is not a appealing feature to me in any way these days.
Yeah.
It's like just I thought it was like kind of neat the first few times, and then I was like, oh, I gotta like get my phone out, connect it to my toothbrush, and open the thing and hit the button. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Brightside is a big fan of interdental picks. They're like pipe cleaners for your teeth.
Yep,
all right, hell yeah, bro, get in there. I love it. I love when you guys are taking your dental health seriously. It's so weird, but I like that you guys are here for the conversation. Trying to do what the app is saying you should do, but it's just a learning experience. Good. Yeah, dude, it takes getting used to for sure. In one thing that I do, I know it may not be super good, but if you find that it's not like clean enough, I'll rinse and then fucking just do another cycle, and then it's usually like perfect after that. So, but a lot of it is how you're using the brush. And again, like, don't brush with it. You move it very slowly across your teeth and like go down below your gum line, and it'll get in there. It's really good.
The primary thing you're trying to do is effectively like hypersonically vibrate your gum line and like get the stuff out of it. So that's where you want to focus for sure.
Nice. That's awesome, LFQ. I'm glad you're down the Philips Sonicare road, man. It's you'll see dramatic differences because like, I mean, so there was I've told you guys before, I was somewhat poor growing up, and I didn't have like dental care or insurance for like 15 years, and I still have all my teeth, and they're fine. They're good. I do have some gum line recession, probably from smoking and tobacco and all that stuff, but when I switched over from traditional brushing, because I was brushing way too hard, it got my teeth cleaner, and yeah, my dental visits since then have been always positive. And you know, cleanings are trivial. They're really quick. Using my old manual toothbrush, doing a once over after, super soft bristles. Yeah, dude. Yeah. If you need to like use your old manual brush and then try that, like that totally works too. I think the biggest thing that was hard for me was like just being used to a 2-minute timer of brushing your teeth is a lot. Like that's significantly more brushing than most people do with a manual brush. So just stick to your timer. I haven't really found like the different modes matter that much. Like clean is fine. Deep clean is also fine. I don't know. I've never used the gum care one. Doesn't seem like it matters. So yeah, Evo. I'm very excited for Evo. Evo is going to be cool as fuck. If you guys like fighting games, it is always a good time. The commentators are fantastic. Oh, 2 minutes is less than you used to brush? That's crazy. All right, well, that's good, man. So you already have like good brushing habits, at least. All right, I want to tell you guys a really gross story. It's not me. It's someone I used to work with at Bungie. There was this dude who was really high up in the design org. This guy did not brush his teeth, and he would drink coffee in the morning and go into meetings, and it was fucking disgusting. His mouth, like when he would speak, smelled like a rotting corpse. And I remember talking to someone about it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he's aware." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they were like, "He's doing it as a flex. He does it to fuck with people." And I'm like, "That's fucking disgusting. Like, brush your fucking teeth, man." So this dude would like intentionally rot his teeth just to fuck with people in meetings, just to be really gross. Adder says, my buddy is demoing his game at Evo this year. Pretty stoked for him. Combo Devils. Fuck yeah, dude. That's awesome. That's very, very cool. I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm very excited for Evo. I really like it. I don't know that I want to go. I feel like it's nicer to watch Evo with like 7 streams up all at once and try to watch them all than like be at the event and just taking in all the smells and like the hot air and nastiness that is an Evo. An older boss I had when I started the company I'm at also didn't brush his teeth. Yeah, dude, I don't understand, man. People just really don't want to keep their fucking teeth, I guess. And like oral health affects your fucking kidneys and your eyes and shit. Like you really want to like die because you didn't fucking brush your teeth? That's crazy. Evo and most esports events are usually best enjoyed at home. Yeah, I mean, there's different aspects to it. Like if you enjoy like meeting people who share your, very niche hobby and insane passion for stuff that a lot of other people don't have, yeah, you should go. It's probably worth going like once or twice. I think I'd like to go to Evo one time, but I'm pretty sure after having been to a ton of cons and stuff that like I don't want to go to fucking Evo all the time, right? Like one is probably good enough. BlizzCon and PAX West peak era of like 2014. Yep. That's exactly when I was going to PAX, was like 2012 to 2018 or something like that was like my peak PAX experience. He was also a smoker, so didn't smell much more than that. I mean, that's good. That's good. Because like, you know how bad coffee breath can be. And this dude was like coffee rot breath. Motherfucking Dark Souls, or not Dark Souls, Elden Ring rot dragon. Disgusting human being. Bungie was fucked. Like, just talking about hygiene, there were people who would like not shower for days and come into work. I remember, okay, so studio was like 90% male, right? We had really nice facilities, lots of different bathrooms and shit like that. But like the main bathroom on the dev floor had like 12 or 15 stalls. And you're talking like nearly, probably like 800 men all using this. And people would use it at the same time. So the bathrooms would just get disgusting constantly. They needed cleaning every day, like multiple times a day. And I remember there were multiple times that I saw people go into the bathroom with no shoes on, like just socks into the fucking bathroom, walking around in the piss socks like all day. It's fucking crazy shit. Like game developers can be some gross ass humans. Yeah, exactly. What face, dude? Speaking of checking events off of the bucket list, I still haven't been to a DreamHack. Dude, Adder, coincidence, I'm wearing DreamHack. Oh, you can't see, it's hella faded. I got DreamHack sweatpants on right now. But yeah, I have a DreamHack onesie and DreamHack sweatpants from Sweden a long time ago. I don't remember when. LFQ, you might remember. Do you remember Mytala from Ox's stream? Mytala hooked me up. She was working DreamHack in Sweden and sent me the hoodie and the sweatpants. I sent her money over the internet and I was like, well, this money's probably gone forever. Yeah, Hannah. So she found a way when she was at the event. She's like, a friend of mine in the United States, I'm trying to figure out how to ship this to him. What can I do? And she was like talking to a dude that worked at Riot. And he's like, I got you. Just give me that shit. He flew back to the United States, fucking put all of my stuff into a nice box with like a little note and fucking shipped it to me. It was sick as fuck. I never knew this guy, but I got my DreamHack shit, and yeah, it was very cool. I haven't talked to my Tala in years, dude. I don't even. I hope she's doing well, because that was a very cool thing for a stranger on the internet to do for another stranger. So yeah, I hope she's living her best life. Let's see. That's the game industry as a whole. There always have a handful of 0 sense of hygiene. I do not miss in-office work. Yeah, Adder. Dude, oh my God, I'm remembering now. Okay, so there was a guy. So again, Bungie had really nice amenities. We would get like muffins and bagels and like good, breakfast foods and stuff like that. Like the kitchen was stocked all the time. And it was very cool. There was a guy who got a bran muffin on his first day of work on one of the projects and kept it on his desk for actually years. And the cleaning crew was like, this is fucking gross because it's like a moldy ass muffin, and they threw it away. This dude emailed the whole studio writing out like a couple paragraphs of his story about why this muffin was important to him. And like how he was upset that the muffin got thrown away, all this crazy shit. And I'm like, what brain are you fucking using to think you can just have rotting food on your desk for years? And like, what the fuck, man? So yeah, if you guys are wondering why game devs are weirdos, I mean, I don't know why, but they're weirder than you think. Yeah, I still see her on Steam too on occasion. I should drop her a message and ask her how she's doing. There's a woman at Arcane that had a 5 to 6 year old jack-o'-lantern pumpkin on her desk. Oh, gross. Black and folded in on itself and smelled terrible. Dude, why? And why the fuck do people go like, yeah, it's fine, we'll let you do this? It's crazy. It's just crazy. So anyway, I hope we get away from that shit as an industry. She called herself the Raccoon Queen. Big Quirk Chungus. Yeah. Extremely bizarre. I'm sure. I'm going to apologize in advance on behalf of all millennials, because I assume that's a millennial person. I guess it could have been a Zoomer, but I assume millennial for that kind of behavior. Tony, you want to talk about the tool you were making? Trying to emulate blackout tools?
Yeah, I got my cube here, my wireframe.
Well, let's start with where you got stuck last week. What were you trying to do? You're trying to make it a dynamic mesh last week, right? And you couldn't quite get it to like transform in the right way.
It was I had a cube rendering pretty quickly and easily, but I wanted to be able to control the resolution of the cube. So if you see right here, I have this divisions per edge. So if I set this to 1, now there's only one edge on each side of the face, and it's 2 triangles because it's a square. If I change that to 2, now there's 2 edges per face, and everything has exponentially increased. And I can go up to whatever number I want to, and it becomes a higher resolution cube with more geometry. And for a cube, obviously it doesn't really make sense to do something like this, but if you were going to take this and start sculpting it or editing it, or you wanted to cut pieces out of it or something, you might want something this high resolution. So I just wanted to bake that in there, and I was just having trouble with that part because if you want to just kind of look at how this works here, you have to generate all of the vertices and triangles and normals and UVs and stuff in a very specific order. I'm still trying to understand all of this a little better, but yeah, that's just how like really raw rendering of geometry works, is everything has to wind in a certain order, and the vertices all have to connect to each other in a specific way so that you get these nice smooth outside edges regardless of the underlying geometry. If I do like I want to say, Tony, go back to your BP. I want to say, look how fucking clean Tony's blueprints are. Like, just look at that. Just look at it for a second. Look at that. That's so fucking good, like,
dude.
I appreciate it, but like it needs to be this clean because this was so spicy that like I had a very hard time following it, and ultimately if the blueprints are hard to follow, then that makes it really hard to figure stuff like this out. So,
artisanal blueprints, says Adder. Yeah, exactly, dude.
I mean, shout out to BP Assist plugin. I know I talk about it a lot, but it is, you know, definitely something that I install in every project just without even thinking about it. You know, if my blueprints are looking all fucked up like this, you know, I can have stuff all over the place, and sometimes they end up looking like this because I just, you know, I'm going fast. But all you got to do is just pick something in the chain and hit F, and there you go. That's my secret. I don't really do anything beyond that.
Very cool shit.
Yeah. So now we have this, and we can make it as high resolution as we want, and it looks right and everything. And then the procedural mesh component here in Unreal just has this create static mesh button. So you can press that. It'll prompt you. You can save it wherever you want in the project, and then you don't have to work with this anymore. With blockout tools, we could definitely do that, but it was always kind of a lot more annoying, to be honest. So if I take one of their boxes and I put it in here, then if I wanted to write this out to a mesh, they don't have any controls in here to do it. You just have to go to actor and hit merge actor, and then that would allow me to make it into a static mesh. But I like this way that I got set up a lot better. Another thing that the blockout tools had that we definitely wanted to emulate is this drag handle here, where I can just kind of like move this cube out and it moves, and that's always felt very intuitive to us as opposed to messing with scale or something like that. And it turns out that that's actually a really easy thing to do, because all you have to do in the blueprint, if I go in here, is if I go to the size variable that I created, I have show 3D widget as a property. I got to go to the parent so that I can actually edit it and you can see. But yeah, so show 3D widget here is a property that you can tick on vectors, and that will basically give you this thing right here. And then there's some math that's happening that just kind of says like the distance between that corner and that corner is how we determine the size of the cube. And so I can just kind of drag this thing out, and it still does everything it's supposed to. And I've been considering maybe adding controls for like number of edges per face in each direction, because right now I think we're going to start stretching things out and they won't be even.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, it all does still work the way that it's supposed to. So
Tony Adder had a good suggestion that I like, not to like blow your scope or anything, but he was saying, I love to see improvements added along the way with a new version of a tool, maybe a control point on each corner, because yeah, he's totally right. I've experienced it when using this tool, and I'm trying to like, you know, fuss with a piece of geo and put it in a certain spot that like the control handle to change the shape of it. Like if I rotate it, now I have to like pull it in a direction I didn't want to pull it in, and then move the asset back. So yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, it would get noisy, but if there's a way that you could like, I don't know, at least hit that MVP, and then like I could figure out how to get around it or talk about UX later and say like, it'd be cool if it worked a little bit more this way. I don't know, we can get there, but I think that's a cool suggestion.
I mean, theoretically, again, it's just kind of like math between the corners. So that's probably something that we could try. Yeah, definitely.
And then AAA Battery was saying people who don't bathe are just eco-conscious and want to save water. Yeah, fucking hippies, dude. What's up, Mega Mocap? Math? Not even once. Yeah, unfortunately, making things in 3D is a lot of math.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff ends up just being like fairly early trig, I think. Like it's just a lot of like sine and cosine and tangent and arctangent and all of those things. And if you kind of understand how those work, like it does get a little spicy, but over time that's kind of just made me go like, oh, okay, like I kind of understand why we learn trigonometry, and it's useful at times. So but yeah, something we're going to try to do now just while we're hanging out is Blockout Tools has this nice material on it, and we do like this material a lot. So they have this whole properties panel here where we can either do a custom material and we can just give it anything we want, or we can have their blockout grid, which has some controls as well. You can turn the actual grid part on and off. You can make it world aligned, so as I move the cube, the grid doesn't move. Or, you know, we can turn that off so that it sticks to the cube, and then you have lots of control over the size of the grid, as well as like the luminance of the checkers and the roughness of the material. and then you have the ability to either have a separate color for the tops and bottoms or not, like that. But Vince said he uses this a lot for.
I do.
It's kind of like visual indication of the sizes of things and stuff. So.
Oh, thank you, LFQ.
So.
LFQ with 1,000 bits. Thank you for the free bits.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thank you, brother. What's up, Queen Anne? Welcome back. Know a lot of crazy math quirks from my time studying it. Also, hi. Yeah, it's great to see you. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed playing Peak with us and carrying the stragglers along. It was nice having you at the back of the pack. You know, she was ushering people along, going like, "Here's where we need to go."
It's the only reason we made it as far as we did, to be honest. Yeah, like we were probably not going to make it through like maybe zone 2.
I was shocked we got through zone 2. Yeah. But yeah, thank you. Let's see.
And I'm really glad you joined too, LFQ, because we've never really done anything together with you like that, and that was awesome.
Yeah,
you've been coming around and being really supportive, so appreciate that.
LFQ is great to game with. It's been too long, bro. We should game some more. Adder was saying he dropped out of math when he hit trig, and now he does trig for a living. It's wild how life works that way. I mean,
yeah, dude. Same.
I'm good at words, so I use words, and I draw shitty pictures, and I get tools like Lego bricks, and then I just slap them all together and make a video game out of it. So that's why I do what I do. Yeah. Queen Anne says, I really did. That's my favorite thing to do in games like that. That's awesome. I'm really glad you enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that you came and played with us. It's really cool. I appreciate that you came, into the community. I can't remember how you found us or joined us. I feel like you were a part of like you and Stevie Ray came around the same time. I don't know if you guys talk a lot, but it's definitely great having you around.
Like Boom fans that came.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like Boom brought us all together, to be honest.
Yeah, Boom the goat, our favorite kitty.
Yep.
I also love Legos Omni. I have not done any Lego things for a while. Tony's got a Lego thing that he was going to do. I don't know if you did that. Did you do it?
I did it. Yeah.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah, it's been in the back of the stream. It's over in the VR background right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice.
I definitely sent you a picture of it when I did it.
Hell yeah. That's sick.
Watching the new season of Lego Masters, always good. Really enjoy that show. I think they're on the final is like the next episode.
Nice. That's awesome. Sparkle really likes that. I haven't watched it. I don't think Sparkle has even like really made Lego things. I should probably get Sparkle a Lego set. Don't tell her, chat. Sparkle, don't listen. Yeah, Lego Masters is fun. So I have to say that there's like, I understand the audience is kids, but like, fuck, man, sometimes Lego Masters is really cringe to me, and it
they make the contestants. Everybody has to be a character and like a caricature of themselves, kind of, and they all have to like dress a very specific way, and it can be very cringe, 100%.
Yeah, it's. I'm just whimsy is not my favorite flavor, and it's very whimsical, so it's totally fine. I appreciate it. I think it's cool. But yeah, it's sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, I need to like walk away, otherwise I'm gonna start shit talking the show and ruining it for my wife. Omni says my wife has a whole office worth of Star Wars Legos that she put together at various Christmas times. Adder says he's never heard of Lego Masters. Yeah, you got to check that shit out if you like Legos.
It's on really Hulu, cool. And there's like 5 seasons, so you got a lot that you can go through. And it's hosted by
Arquette, right?
Will Arnett.
Arnett, that's it. Yeah, Job from yeah, Gob.
He's also he's Lego Batman in the movies, so that's why he has connections to Lego. But,
yeah. They're not magic tricks, Michael. They're called illusions. Yeah, there you go. Mega mocap. Yo, Jinx, bro.
Absolutely the best character in Arrested Development.
Porsche Cup Lego set. Dude, that's sick. You should send pictures. I want to see what it looks like. I played with Legos a ton when I was a kid, and I would always get the like space and sci-fi sets, and then I would build like dioramas out of them. So I would start with like building the set, and then I would like take them apart and build my own things. I like modified my own Legos. I played there was a tabletop like tactical game called Mobile Frame Zero that you could play with Legos. That was really cool. I mean, it doesn't have to be Legos. You can play with anything, but I did that for a little bit. That was fun. Let's see. Yeah, I think I caught up on that. All right, sweet. Okay, so Tony, you got stuck last time.
Hold on one sec, sorry.
Yeah, you're good, man. So Tony got stuck on stream last time doing something specific. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was able to resolve that off stream. He was going to talk about how to get or how he got through it and like what that thing was.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, again, it was the edge winding thing and the vertice generation that I was talking about. I don't even specifically remember what the solution ended up being. Basically, I was just looking at like fairly generic like mathematical representation of how you're supposed to do this stuff in kind of like more written code like C++ or something, and trying to translate that into what I'm doing here. And you know, it's definitely one of those times where like it probably would have been easier to do in written code, because I think ultimately at the end of the day, a lot of the issues that I was running into was just like the wrong things being plugged into the wrong parts of the equation at the wrong time. And I think one of the big ones too is that this part right here, you have to generate. Oh no, I ended up not having to do that. There was a thing where I was like having to generate things in a different direction when it was on certain faces, and then that was because I was doing something else wrong, so that ended up not being a thing. So yeah, it ended up just, I was doing everything right on the stream. In theory, I just had some stuff plugged into the wrong spots, and it took me a couple of hours of just kind of like sitting there and staring at it and just going through every single little step and just seeing a lot of. I have it set up here where this is the definition of the faces of the cube. It's basically like the vectors that each one of them is facing, and there's 6 of them in each of these things. And so to debug, I could make it so there's only one, and it would just generate one face. And then once I had that working, go to 2 faces, stop working again, had to figure out, and then eventually I was able to just kind of get it back through. So it was a lot of work to generate a cube at the end of the day, but it does exactly what I want it to do now. And hopefully it will mean that moving on to, you know, if we look at some of the other stuff that the blockout tools has here, there's a cone, there's a ramp, there's a cylinder, there's a sphere. You know, I don't think we'll do every single one of these things that they have in here, but like all the basic ones. And you know, the ramp is just the cube, but like with a cut down the diagonal middle of it. And
I think if railing was
shouldn't be too bad.
If railing was a grind rail, that would be cool, but that could be a separate tool. I think that's fine. I don't see a need for like railing. Skew box is useful. Stairs are not useful, so we probably don't need stairs. Cone is useful.
And I don't want some of the stuff too to like get in the way of like some of the other stuff that we have already. Yeah. Like they have like a straight tube thing, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like we have a thing that lets you make a straight tube, or like a tube that's bent along a spline and kind of does all the same stuff. So I'm not going to bother making a tube thing, and I'm hoping to just kind of like combine a lot of the existing spline tools that we have with some of this new stuff. So I can show off kind of what some of those look like here real quick.
I think cylinder would be useful, but it doesn't have to be able to turn into a tube.
Yeah. So like we have some of these tools like this right now. They look kind of weird because I was trying to fix some of these material seam issues. But this is a tube tool that we have that will go along a spline, as you can see here. So you can kind of control it and make it do whatever. And then we have a bunch of different controls over here about, you know, I can make the tube a lot bigger if I want to. I can make it more or less high definition, I guess would be. I don't know. So this has 6 edges now, and because of some of the angles and stuff that I have, it's not working very good. But let's go back up to like 32 here. I have number of spline segments, so like along the spline, how many actual meshes will be generated. Turn the wireframe on here so you can see there's all of these sections, and if I were to make this number a lot lower, then you know those sections are going to get twice as long, and the tube's going to be a little less smooth as we go around the corners and stuff, but it's less geometry, so that could be good. And then we also have stuff like the wall thickness, so we can make these walls a lot thicker if we want to.
And you can change these values by spline point. So along
Yes.
a spline, you can make one section feel a certain way, and then the next section feels a different way, which is really cool. It's a super useful tool for me.
Yeah, and so that was the thing I did in C++ that I'll show the other thing that uses it that I think works a little better. But you can see we have all these properties here that are under Hyperskate, and I have an individual width, height, depth, and then I can toggle. You'll see on the other ramp, I can toggle the individual pieces of the ramp on and off, just depending on what part of the XYZ they're in, basically, and have a bunch of other things. So this is a new one that's kind of derivative of these other ones over here that I'll show you that doesn't use all of those things, but does use this custom point-by-point system that we made. I was hoping to show the amount of, like, we can control how much of this is filled in, if it's only half or if it's a full tube or whatever. I think that it's maybe like not exposed in the blueprint or something, but that is another thing that we have. Yeah, but so same ish kind of tool over here. This was one of the earlier iterations we made, and the idea was to kind of be able to make like a bunch of different ramps and skate park items out of this. And so we have the ability, again, like you were seeing, where if we click on one of these spline points, I can go in here and I can, you know, turn the top section of this mesh off. This is very non-performant, so it takes a long time when I change something, but you can see I can turn any of the individual pieces off. You know, the left wall here, the top left ramp can go, and the whole thing will kind of like shift and adjust depending on what pieces are there. And it works pretty good, but it just, there's so much geometry when they get this long and complex that they start to really chug. So that's another thing that we're kind of trying to fix with some of these newer versions. But we have outer ramps here that kind of act like just normal kickers. You can kind of see if we turn off a lot of the top and side stuff. You can even turn the bottom left off, I believe.
Yeah, mocap, this is a really important tool for us that I use because, like I've told you guys many times, we don't have any art people. We have some people that contribute. We have some people who've said they would contribute and haven't made anything. That's actually the majority. But like, yeah, so being able to block things out and get gameplay feeling good with certain shapes is super important. So having Tony build these tools for me goes a very, very, very long way. So it's great.
You know, you can
relate.
Kind of tries to like warp everything between each point to the best of its ability and kind of fill in the gaps, and it's still not quite perfect, and some parts still have some issues, but you have total control over, you know, if I want to make this area twice as high now, it's going to make everything adjust here, maybe.
Mocap, I was fucking crashing out earlier this week about the artists, because I probably worked with like 6 of them. We have a guy who built some stuff for us, but he's very, very, very junior and like never had a job in the industry. So I'm a terrible art director, to be fair. I'm not good at art direction. So I'm trying to do that the best I can, but I can't like teach the guy how to 3D model and, you know, do materials and lighting and shit, because I'm not good at it. I don't know it. So it's been a long process. I've had him try to work on a couple different things. And one of the things that he worked on like more recently were environment art objects. And I gave him a lot of solid direction. And I was like, do you have questions? He had no questions. And then 2 weeks later delivered something we can't use. And so now I have to do like another round of feedback with him, and he won't be available for a week and a half. So it's very, very slow. It's arduous. It's not generating things we need. But at the same time, I've also had like, I kept telling you guys every time we would have an artist come through, we were really excited about. And we had one guy that I worked with at Bungie who we talked to him for about a month. We had a couple meetings. He gave us some pointers on how to do like landscape stuff, talked about like Gaia, and like was talking to Tony about optimizing stuff. And then he just became a ghost and disappeared and like didn't respond for a year. We found out that he's like not dead because he updated his art station finally and he got a job at CDPR. Cool. I just wish he would have told us something. Then we had another artist give us a couple of items, but I don't think he was like really fucking with us, and he didn't give us a lot of stuff that we could use, but he made decent art. We've had another person that I worked with at Bungie reach out after we made the marathon videos and say like he wanted to help us. He's been chilling for like, I don't know, 2-3 months saying he was going to work on some stuff, and like life is busy, and he's just actually just been a ghost. He's not made anything whatsoever. After our first like consultations and meetings, he has access to certain things. It's Omni. It's hard for me to not feel that way, but at the same time, like I'm not paying him, so I can't expect them to deliver shit. But by contrast, we met a really cool software engineer. You guys probably have seen him a few times in chat, Simple Sins. He's been helping us a fuckload with code, and it's been really awesome. He's been working with Tony and building a bunch of features that, like, while Tony's down the perf rabbit hole and trying to optimize the project, he builds stuff like save game state, and it's really fucking cool. Updated our debug console to give us a lot more features that we needed. It's just really cool shit. So we have an engineer that's really helpful. Anime Figurines is helping us with social media content, but it's like, it's tough. I want to read what Big Monkey Man says here. 69420. Dude, what a crazy handle. That's awesome. I've been told to apply for internships as soon as I can. Most of them open October, November. I'm concerned that I want to build up as many skills as if I applied later. It depends on the job you're going for, Monkey Man. What are you seeking? Like, what are you looking for, and where are you applying, and all that stuff? And we can talk here. I'm gonna drop some links to our Discord. And if you want to see what we're working on, we're working on a game called Hyperskate. Tony's showing off some tools stuff today that he's building for us to use. But yeah, I want to help you too. Like, that's a big part of our stream. And also, thank you for coming through and chatting. Let's see. Adder gave some advice. Oh, I got to catch up on some shit. Sorry to hear, dude. That's super annoying. Yeah, I feel you, Mocap. It's hard to have to train up people, but even harder if it's not in your field. Yes, Mocap. That's what I'm struggling with too. I hate that there's a large quantity of artists out there that give the disciplined, hardworking artists a bad rep by distant association. I mean, I went to art school at her, so I kind of like feel it, and I understand if you can't get paid and there's like no bag on the table, it's really, really hard to get motivation to go build shit for people. I get that. I totally understand. So if anything, you could say it's like a failing on my part for being a creative director and trying to inspire with the project and say, like, here's what we're doing. Everyone seems really interested, but I think if they were really interested and they truly believed in, the stuff, like I had done a good job of selling the vision, then they probably would have made more things for us. So if anything, I could say it's on me and not necessarily them, because I'm not giving them a good value proposition for like, hey, come do some free work for us and like we'll credit you and whatever. So let's see. Omni says, yeah, I mean, more like ghosting instead of being like, hey, I had changing priorities and can't help anymore. Yeah, but it's easier for people to just ghost, especially if you talk on the internet and you're not like talking every day. So I get it. It's normal. It's human behavior, conflict avoidance and shit like that. Mega Mocap says, I think I need a team. Getting tired of pushing in all directions at once. Luckily, I feel like I can figure out anything, but it's taking me so long. So Mocap, that's something that I've talked to Tony about from like the very beginning is, Tony was like, we can just build it, the two of us. And I'm like, yeah, but we'll be done in like 7 years. And the product isn't even going to be like culturally relevant anymore. Like anything we're building, like you need more people so that you can work on different parts of the thing all at the same time. Then you can release something in a reasonable time frame that you can like function as a business, so it's really tricky in that regard. Monkey Man says SWE internship or any electrical or computer engineering role. I assume you mean software engineering. That's what SWE is. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. What languages are you learning, and are you trying to get into just the field in general or specifically in games? Omni says, I feel like the art folks you need to find are the ones fresh out of college that need to build a portfolio. Yes and no. The trick with that, like I was saying, I'm working with a really junior person, is that I can't teach them the skills that they need to be an effective digital artist. And that's my biggest hang up. That's, if I had those skills, it would be a different story. And I could like shape this person to be really effective and awesome.
Bro, if you had those skills, you can make the art.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's also another part of it. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't need another artist. You know, art is like one of the biggest parts of making a video game. Like those are the biggest teams. And then Adder was replying to Omni saying, yes, definitely. But man, it's hard to find juniors that have the actual self-discipline to show up and do the work.
That's the problem.
Is exactly why I have heavily prioritized devs with personal projects in their portfolio along with their specialty. Yes, dude. Yes.
I've been being quiet so far, but my advice to all of this would just be you got to build shit and not worry about too much else. An internship is a good opportunity to build some real stuff potentially at a real place that might get used by real people. It might also not be. But in the meantime, I would just focus on, like Adder said, personal projects. Find some stuff that you're really passionate about, that interests you and that you want to do, and figure out how to do it. And in every single circumstance, regardless of if you're doing game dev or web dev or anything else, it's going to force you to learn a lot of stuff that you don't already know, because there's a lot of kind of less obvious stuff that kind of goes into putting together all of the basic stuff that you learn. And I think that's where, you know, your experience will really grow. And a majority of this job is just like running into a problem and like it's your job to figure out how to fix it. And the more you just practice doing that, the better you're going to be. It's always felt that simple to me. Like school is going to help, but school is just an opportunity to build stuff and to have somebody who kind of knows what they're doing, maybe kind of point you in the right direction. But you know, the thing that you're going to get the most of out of school is experience. And it would be the same from an internship or just doing personal projects. And I'm with Adder. If I'm trying to hire devs or something like that, and I know I'm hiring somebody super junior, I look for the ones that have personal projects and that kind of show that they have some interest in doing some stuff outside of just like getting paid and doing their job, because those people are never going to be as good. And
so Monkey Man, Monkey Man, I want to go back to like software engineering jobs are in one way kind of universal and you can kind of like work on anything, but in another way, like it doesn't really translate into games. So if you want to make games, I would say there's like different advice we could give versus like just becoming a software engineer, which has a lot more opportunity, by the way. If you're just starting out and you're trying to build your career, I think you went the right way in pursuing software engineering because it's in demand, highly in demand. Don't worry about AI tools. Just don't. But Tony could probably give you really good advice for how to like just become a software engineer, and that's your job. Games specifically is a different ass thing altogether. So I think just knowing where your goals are is important to give you advice.
Yeah, because to Vince's point, like you can learn to be a programmer outside of games, and it will definitely serve you well when you come to games. And I think you'll probably write better games because of it, but you're not going to know how to make games at all. Like you're going to be starting from zero on that part, and learning Unreal Engine or Unity or one of these other things is like starting from zero in a new programming language to some extent. If anything, it's a lot more complex because there's just so many more aspects to it than you're used to. So
dude, Monkey Man, if you got advice on how to do this for your career, that's really good advice. Finishing your ECE and then getting a master's in CS and AI. So academia is one thing, but simply completing those programs won't get you a job. I would say when you're in grad school, if this is something you're still pursuing, you really need those personal projects, because if you're doing that, it'll get you a job, or you literally just create your own job because you've started to build a product that you can market and sell and like get investors for and all that. So don't just rest on the piece of paper, especially in games. People don't care about that. They care a lot more about what you can do, and you have to be able to show that you can do a thing instead of saying, I completed this program, so that means I can do it. It doesn't mean that. Let's see. Adder told a story about how he got hired. Very good advice. I think that's really good. Omni is a software director. So Omni is like knows this shit really well, does a lot of hiring and hires at many different levels. So I would take his advice too. When I hired software engineers, I look for folks who do personal passion projects that show that they are in it because they love software engineering or building and not because they just want a high paying job. Exactly. You need someone who can actually do the job that isn't just there for the paycheck. That's especially true in games because people wash out. They get burned and they're like, I fucking hate this. And they will just sit there and wait for you to fire them. And that's not a good position to be in for either, the employee or the employer.
And any engineering field just moves so fast these days that you need people who are kind of into keeping up with it and who are going to learn new stuff and who are going to go home and read about things and find a new cool thing that they want to try out that is interesting to them and that they think might benefit the thing you're doing. There are a lot of people who will not do that. There are a lot of people who will turn the computer off at 4 or 5 and not think about coding or anything like that until the next day when they get back to work. And they're never as good developers in my experience.
Yep.
So it's just how it is.
Mocap asked if anyone's used Nomad Sculpt. I have not. I haven't heard of the tool, but again, I'm not a 3D artist, so
I believe I have heard people talking about it recently as like a potential alternative to ZBrush.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that is like, I think it's free maybe, and ZBrush is very expensive, so that's always, I don't know if I'm saying it's free when it's not, but
Monkey Man was asking if he should focus on 1 or 2 main projects or a couple of smaller ones. I think the most important thing to consider here is think about what you're showing somebody that demonstrates you can do a thing. So it's okay if your project is incomplete. If you can say, I built this, I built this, I built this, and here's what I'm thinking, and here's my vision for how to connect these. I need to finish this part. So if you can talk about it and talk about your process and explain that you know what you're doing by talking about your process, that's the whole thing we're trying to convey. So if you can't do that because you're like, well, in this class, I did this thing, and so I understand how this one thing works, that's not the job. The job is very different.
And I was going to say when you first asked that, like, show things that you actually like followed through on and completed. And I do think that that's probably one good side of it, but I kind of agree with what Vince said more actually after he said it, which is that you need to be able to have a conversation about what you did and explain your thinking and why you did what you did and kind of show the person that you're talking to that you have the knowledge that is required to do this stuff, because lots of people can follow tutorials and classes or whatever and just kind of type the thing in that it says to type in and ultimately achieve what they need to, or these days, tell the AI to do it, and they had no say in any of the code that was written. And you're not going to learn anything in that situation. But there are people who will, go through the same tutorial and try to understand why each decision is being made and try to have a deeper grasp of all of the concepts that are being used. And those people will just inevitably be able to have that conversation a little easier, and they're going to sound like they know what they're talking about. And so at the end of the day, in an interview, that's kind of all that matters. You just need to make them like you and think that you know what you're doing for the 30 minutes to an hour that you're talking to them, and then you can worry about the rest of it after that.
Adder actually gave really good advice too. If you're looking to join games, a master's will only be money spent on a useless piece of paper. True, very true. If you want to get a job at a place like Google, the master's will help you get a higher salary, but it's not going to help you actually get the job. That's also very true. I'm looking to join as many clubs related to CS as possible. Main goal is building a portfolio of useful projects. That's a great goal. Dropped out of college. Haven't been asked a single time about my schooling and games interviews in my 15 years. Yep. Same matter. Yeah, I'm going to make projects that relate to my personal life. That's a great idea. That's good motivators because you're solving a problem that you can relate to. That's really good. Your head's in the right space. Or that solve problems in other people's lives. I think it'd be interesting for me as well as looking good. Yeah. So do stuff that you're personally interested in. Yes, that's huge. I will say that I've never been hired as a game designer based on a portfolio that I had that someone looked at or my resume. All of it comes down to the interview and how I talk about my design process and what I've worked on in the way I think, because that's the most important piece of being a designer is how you think and how you approach the player experience and like what you're building and why you're even building it. So
I'll also throw out there, never make a personal website. Nobody cares, and there
yes.
maybe we'll look at it for 1 second, and you will spend a ton of time and effort pouring your heart into this thing that you think is really cool, and it's just not going to move the needle for you in any way, shape, or form. And I just see a lot of people end up doing that when they're trying to get a development job, and I'm not going to not look at a candidate because they don't have a personal website. If anything, I probably won't look at it. I'll look at their GitHub probably more so than anything else. And I love to see an active GitHub because, and it's not always possible. Some people work at companies where they're not allowed, they don't use GitHub or something like that. But even then, it's like if you were doing any sort of personal work outside of your job, you're probably pushing it to your GitHub. And so if your GitHub is just a big empty gray square, that's going to probably kind of look like maybe you don't do anything outside of work. And, you know, maybe you're anti GitHub and you want to use your personal GitLab or Bitbucket or something, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, I know I was talking about the personal website here. That's the main thing. It's just like, I really don't think anybody should ever waste their time on something like that unless they're trying to be like a freelancer or something like that, because any other developer who looks at it is not going to care even a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think about it from a game designer perspective and like what my interview loops are like. It's almost become a red flag for me at this point if there's like a robust design test. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of design tests are like technical writing exercises so that they can try to think about how you think. And I've had some that were like fucking 2 weeks of like actual work, and they could like take that stuff and go make things with it. And I've been like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm just not doing it. And if this is the expectation in the interview, it's going to be a bad situation for me as an employee. So I'm not going to do it. Alternatively, there are some that I'm like, this is reasonable. It's like maybe a day or two of my time for an interview loop. Cool. That's great. I'll do that. But I will say that basically nobody that I've ever talked to and done design tests for has fucking read my design tests or even asked me questions about them. So if you're junior, that might come into play a little more. But I got my junior jobs by building shit and then having a game on an iPad that I could show to someone and talk about. And that works so much better than anything else. So if you can just be like, here's what I built. Here's how I built it. Here's why I built it this way. You're good to go. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you're starting out. I think starting out is different. Like advice for like senior or like lead level positions, which is like where I'm at in my career. You know, like it's just different. You gotta talk to someone about what they've shipped and what that process was like. And those were always my favorite interviews. I thought they were much better because then I could actually talk about shit instead of like, yeah, just send me your portfolio and we'll look at it. And I'm like, I'm going to spend a bunch of time building a portfolio specifically for this job, and you're not even going to care or read it. It's like, for me, I feel like that's a power dynamic bullshit game that I don't want to get into with a prospective employer. And if it starts off that way, I'm not even interested. I'm just not going to take that job. I'll move on. I think once I finish CS 5.0 or CS 50, sorry, I'm not a software engineer. In the Python course I'm going to do a couple small projects to ensure the knowledge is there. Then I'm just going to start coding, doing actual projects that I'll probably learn from that. I mean, Adder's right. Don't wait. Start right now. Use the projects to better leverage your time in class so you can ask specific questions. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say too. There's not really a reason to start later, right? Like if you're in a class and you're learning a thing in a class that you're like, I think I can make a project out of this, your professor is going to be a lot more engaged in helping you understand what this is, because I promise you, no one else in your fucking, class is doing that. So, it does depend on your professor. Your teacher might not be super great, but a good teacher will recognize that and foster that in you and help you become even stronger. So, and the worst case is that you've learned a lot through independent study that you wouldn't learn otherwise, because you're just participating in a lecture or like homework, right? Adder's totally right. You're going to finish school and scramble to look for a job in a completely fucked job market. Get going now, so you may have work by the time you graduate. Yes. Yep. That's really good advice. I'm trying to think about this because it's really hard. Like at that stage in your life, I'm assuming you're in the West, you know, either in Europe or North America, just based on your typing and your English. So forgive me if that assumption is totally wrong. Please correct me. But for me, in my experience growing up in the United States, there's like, the education system is not actually set up in a way that will put you in a successful position. Hey, thanks for the raid, Progsy. I hope you're not a bot, because a 3-person raid is kind of sussy. But so
we appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it nonetheless. Tell us how you found us and who you are and all that. So when you're trying to navigate this time in your life, no, I was joking. Don't sad face. Don't sad face. I was totally fucking with you. I was just in the middle of rambling. So yeah, Monkey Man, when you're at this point in your life, you have to understand that there are, like, academia is trying to get you to spend money in academia. Its goal isn't to prepare you for life. That comes down to individual professors, and I've had a wide variety of professors in my experience. Some were really fucking good and genuinely cared about how to make me successful. Those were the dudes that I asked the most questions of. They were sometimes the most difficult professors. They graded really hard. They could be kind of mean or callous in how they would give you feedback, especially in art school. So like, you just got to not take shit personally and realize your goal is to grow, become super good at what you're doing, so that when you go to get your job, you're the best fucking candidate. You also need to remember that there are tens of thousands of people just like you in the same position trying to get the job that you want. So be better than them. Just in every way you can, do your best and be better than them. Proxy, I was joking. I promise. I swear to God, I was just fucking around. So I appreciate the raid. Thank you so much. It didn't come off the way I wanted it to. I'm sorry. All right, good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for still being here laughing. Okay, so Monkey Man, we're right now we're talking about like career advice and trying to help Monkey Man be prepared to like enter the workforce. You know, they're in college and they're doing their thing. The course is entirely online. I start college in September. I'm learning Python now, as I won't learn it as part of my course. That's really fucking good. You got the right brain for that, or like the right mindset. My main goal currently is to get an internship for next summer, sort of needed if I want to be able to afford college. It should also help with future internship and eventually getting a job. Okay, so Monkey Man, I will warn you, most internships are unpaid. If you get a paid internship, that's generally because you know a person who knows a person that wants to hire you and they're kind of doing a favor. So don't rely on that. Try to get a job if you can. It's really hard. It's tricky. But don't expect that an internship's going to pay you. LFQ says, in my second school round during my education as an electrical engineer, I 100% feel I taught my teachers more than they taught me. They were straight out of the seminar, and it was their first teaching job. Yeah, LFQ knows. This is precisely why I ended up dropping out to begin with my sophomore year, says Adder. Yeah, same, dude. I was really frustrated. So I went to the Art Institute of Colorado, which was shut down federally because it was considered a predatory for-profit college. So all my loans are wiped out and all that shit because of it. So it was rough, man. There were some really good teachers. I learned invaluable things, but the large swath of that education was a waste of money and a waste of time. Yeah, I was also big mad, LFQ. I was big mad until my loans got blown away by the government, so that's cool. Proxy says, don't worry, just check people who were that weren't in Unreal, thought I'd raid. I agree with the internships. Yeah, are you working on something, Proxy? Are you obviously you stream too because you rated us. Tell us about your stuff. You got a moment to plug a little bit. I understand the Twitch etiquette, and you don't want to come into someone's stream and like start plugging your shit, but you got a moment, so go for it. yeah, tell us about yourself. We like to share with everybody. Let's see. More reason to get project balls rolling now. Those first big personal projects are the hardest and take the longest. Yeah, you're going to learn the most too. You're going to make mistakes that you've never made before and face problems you've never tried to solve before. So starting earlier rather than later is actually the best advice. Working in software is a brutal grind for the first few years. The time during school will be the most time you've ever had to dedicate to the craft. Spend it wisely. That's actually very, very true. Mocap says that's crazy. Wow. Yeah. Are you? I'm guessing you're reacting to me talking about my Art Institute experience. Adder says, yes, AI. I went to AIOC in SoCal down the street from Blizzard. Yeah. So AIC, Art Institute of Colorado, they had a lot of connections with Blizzard as well, and that was one of the reasons why I entered their program. So yeah, they didn't have as many.
I definitely toured the Art Institute of Colorado while I was going to CU and almost dropped out of CU to go there. And really,
it was very flashy, man. It was cool as fuck. The campus was awesome. It seemed like they had all their shit together, but I mean, I think it was like a 3-year or 3.5-year degree program because it was accelerated. That program for 2D and 3D animation, it wasn't super great. Like the best example I could give you guys is I did my intro to 3D modeling class. My teacher was ass. The teacher was like very clearly just regurgitating YouTube tutorials, didn't really understand shit. Like the teacher was showing us what they could model. Bad, really bad stuff. And I complained to my advisor and I was like, I want to take this again. Like this dude sucked. I didn't learn shit. I barely feel like I know how to do any of this stuff. And I want to take the class again. And the advisor was like, well, you know, you got a C+ in this class, so you can't take it again. And I was like, even if I pay for it again, I can't take the class again. And they're like, nope, it's done as part of your core course of study. So you got to go to the next class. I was like, I'm going to fucking fail the next class. What do you mean? Like, I don't understand any of this. And it was just crazy. So that was the big turning point for me where I was like, I'm fucking out of here. And then I went and got a job in IT networking and did that for like 7 years before I got back into games. Graduated some game dev school a while ago, employed as an engine dev now, and working on some personal projects in Unreal. That's really cool. If you want to talk about where you graduated from or any of that, like go for it. I have some strong opinions on on like specifically game design academia, because I'm a game designer and I've been doing it for about 15 years now. So I have opinions. Monkey Man says, I think I'd take an unpaid internship over no internship, TBH, and then I'll just work on the rest later. Kind of cooked at the moment. I skipped a couple of years of school, so now I'm going into college having just turned 17. Dude, you're doing really well. Don't be hard on yourself. Meaning it's really difficult to get a job, and I got to buy a laptop. However, my method of figuring it out later is somewhat working. Do as much as you can now. Dive into hard problems. But also at the same time, like, remember you're a kid, dude. Like, don't waste your youth, grinding as hard as possible. But at the same time, just be aware that there's consequences. You know, you may not get to where you want to go without all the work that Adder was talking about. I mean, Adder took the path that you're kind of taking. Adder got his first AAA game dev job at 17 years old because he was building personal projects. I worked with a dude at Bungie who made a Skyrim mod, and the Skyrim mod literally got him hired as his first job ever as a human being at Bungie as a designer.
Yeah. When I was in code school, there was a 17-year-old in my class who was only there because he had published like 10 Android apps and was like literally the best coder in the building. But nobody would take him seriously because he was 17. And so he didn't want to go to college. He didn't want to have to keep doing something. But his parents were like, we have money set aside for you to go to school, and we think it will help you like legitimize yourself. And so he just like did this coding boot camp where he definitely knew more than anybody else, including the teachers. And then he got out of there and like went and got a job at Facebook. So it worked.
Yeah. It definitely does. If you do the thing and you can show that you did the thing and talk about how you did the thing, that's all anyone wants. That's like literally all people are looking for when they're hiring. AI gets a bad rep, but AIOC was pretty dope before they kind of crumbled away. Specifically chose that school because the active teaching staff spent my whole first year sitting in other classes and bailed. So when I went to AIC, they didn't have a game design program. The closest was 2D and 3D animation. And when I finished, I want to say like within the next 5 years, I had a couple friends that went for the game design program. And that game design program was ass. It was really bad. They basically just tried to teach an entire degree out of Jesse Schell's Book of Lenses, Jesse Schell's The Art of Game Design, a Book of Lenses. And like, yes, that's an important book, but you can't do an entire course of study based on that. Proxy says it's a French school. I don't know. I think it's Isart Digital. I don't know how to pronounce that. And please forgive my terrible American accent. But yeah, that's very cool. I would imagine that a Euro school is going to be way better for that kind of stuff than like an American for-profit college that's just trying to get money out of kids. And not really set them up for success, which is my feeling about game design programs right now. It's dated for sure. I haven't been in school for 20 something years now, but yeah, like I'm always just really skeptical of it. I've met a couple people who were junior designers that had a really good head on their shoulders. I don't think it was the program they went to that gave them that. I think they just had a propensity for it, the right passion and the right drive. Computer Q, thank you for chatting. Thanks for coming over from Proxy. I have a high school EE degree and university bachelor's degree in web and app dev. Do feel like I learned more in EE and self-study, but the internship I did at uni got me my current job. Yeah, actually that's a good point. I think the best thing you get from an internship is a network, meeting people, knowing people. They can help you get a job somewhere if they can't hire you there. So internship's not a bad idea, Monkey Man. I think if you're trying to get an internship so that you can pay your bills, that's the bad idea. That's probably not going to happen. Let's see. Adder says, if you're 17, you're just getting started, dude. I had several junior devs in their late 30s and early 40s. Enjoy the ride, survive. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I didn't start making games until I was 30. So like, or no, I was like 27, something like that. But I didn't get my first, like, this is my main job. I'm a game designer professionally. This is how I pay my bills. That didn't happen until I was 30. I made some super cool popular COD 4 and BF2 mods and got hired because the devs were a fan. Very cool, dude. Yeah. Ended up working on COD proper for like 6 years. YouTube is the best school I ever went to, says Mocap. Be careful, dude, because there's some stuff is not always accurate. But yeah, it's good. If you can learn from it, that's fantastic. I was in the programming cursus, though. I don't know that word. Not game design. Yeah, game design is a bit of a tricky track to go. It's very tricky, Proxy. Game design, I think, is very predatory because everyone wants to be a game designer. One of the earliest lessons I learned at the start of my career as a game designer was I had a team principal I was working for, so the company owner, and he was like, what is a game designer? And this dude had hired me, but he was like, I want to know what you think game design is. Why do you need a game designer? And we had a lot of conversations about all this stuff. And he was like, and I was like, why are you asking me this stuff, dude? And he's like, so in my experience, game design is not a junior position. In order to understand game design, you either come through like software engineering, art, production, another discipline that helps you understand what a game is. Because as a game designer, you're responsible for like the whole fucking vision, like what the thing is. So you need to understand how games even get made, why they get made. All that shit is very, very true. So I don't know how a university can teach someone all of that because it's a very new discipline. It's like 30 years old, right? Like game designers haven't been existed for a very long time. Games in the 90s were made by like one person. Like console games were one person, and they weren't all good. Queen Anne says, oh, sorry, I want to read Monkey Man. If I get bored if I'm not doing something challenging, partially why I skipped some years in the first place. So I kind of like to struggle. Yo, big same, dude. That's my vibe for sure. I need to be struggling. Queen Anne says, what do you think about those game dev or marketing courses that influencers are selling? They're priced less than a formal education, of course, but they're still pricey to me. So I would say, Queen Anne, ask yourself why you think an influencer would be worth giving money to when their job isn't predicated on being an expert, right? Like, they didn't get that job because they demonstrated that they could teach someone a high value or difficult to acquire skill set. They got their job because of charisma and marketing and understanding how to build a social following and an audience. So for me, I'm extremely skeptical. I personally would never spend money on those kinds of things. If we're talking like Udemy, there's some good courses on there. If we're talking like what's the thing called, Tony? Unreal, is it Academy? I can never fucking remember. Unreal has a ton of resources that you can look at that are free, and that is good shit. It's hard to parse because it's written for people who are already professionals who are learning how to do a new functionality in the tool. But if you spend time and you look at a lot of different resources and you look at that documentation and go through there, you can learn how Unreal works really well.
Yeah, like the only person who I think it would be worth learning game design from like that would be a really prolific game designer.
Yeah.
Like, if fucking Kojima was teaching a game design class, that'd be worth paying money for. You'd probably learn some shit. Maybe.
Honestly,
but I mean, he's like a weird creative guy, so like he probably can't teach it because I don't think it's something that can be taught. But I just feel like you got to use that logic to go backwards into like somebody who's, to Vince's point, an influencer who's never really done anything notable in their life. It's like, why do you want to learn game design from them? You want to learn game design from like the guy who made Ocarina of Time or Banjo-Kazooie or something. Like those are super well designed games that have a lot of thought that went into them, and just some guy who thinks he knows what he's talking about who has no credentials is probably not worth spending your money or time on.
I'm going to skip to Turning Cog's message and then I'll go back. Like Vince, no, I'm a fucking terrible teacher. I will not ever be like, learn from me. I will teach you things and sell you lessons. No, dude, my shit is free. I didn't get to where I was without a lot of help and mentorship from other people. I'm paying it back. That is literally a part of my goal. Full disclosure, it helps because it helps build the community. You guys have questions. You want to learn from someone who's done things? Cool. I love that. I will gladly repay you guys. Like, that's your sub fee. That's your fucking donation. Like all that stuff that's what you get for being here, right? Like, so that's what it is. But I'm a horrible teacher. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys as much as possible, but I meander a lot in my thought processes, and I'm not very good at like distilling it to, here's why you do it, here's how you should do it, here's the method. Like I can't do that very well. So I got to go back and read some other stuff. Proxy said the same self-study is greater than teachers, but school can give you direction, motivation, connections, dev kits, intercursus projects, partnerships, and probably a few other things. I need to look up cursus, bro. Oh, it's just course. Oh, it's Dutch. My bad. All right, I got you. I love it. LFQ's some kind of a Dutch. I'm kidding. I know he's Danish. Let's see. I'll probably get the random part-time job during the year to help cover costs so I can tank not getting paid for a couple months. Yeah, that's a really good idea. That was a really hard thing for me, Monkey Man, was like working through college, because art school is very demanding. I had to do like 60 hours of art a week, and then I had to work like 20 plus hours a week to pay bills. It was so fucking hard. But stick with it, man. You can do it. And you found us, so you're always welcome to come around here and chat with us, and we can help you out as much as we possibly can. So,
guys, do you see this insane spaghetti and how it actually worked? I'm shocked. Look at this shit. Look at that shit.
Where's Boom? Boom. Screenshot this spaghetti.
I was reading this guide and I was like, this is not going to work. Like, I'm just going to do it just to see. And I plugged it in and it just worked. This is so insane.
Mocap, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to fuck with your business, Mocap. You've made some really cool shit, and explaining how you make the cool shit is very useful. Yeah, I wasn't trying to throw shade at you. I'm sorry, Mocap.
Yeah, no, Mocap, I really appreciate you coming around. I've really enjoyed seeing what you're working on, and you are definitely somebody whose name I knew as we had started doing this, because I've seen your plugins and some of your other YouTube content and stuff. So I think it's really cool that you've come through and have been hanging out and showing us what you've been working on and stuff, because VR community, as you know, is very small, and we don't have too many VR friends, to be honest. So really always happy to get some VR friends in here. So but yeah, guys, if you you want to see what Mega Mocap is working on, he is Steak Man in our Discord, and he posted some stuff in the self promo channel recently that looks really cool.
Yeah, Mocap I think is the right kind of stuff to check out. Honestly, like, does a really good job of explaining the process and like why he built a thing. Like that's good shit. What I was speaking of specifically is like, you know, this but not this. If Thor was selling, and I mean Pirate Software, if Thor was selling a fucking class on game design, I don't know, guys.
He would probably do, to be honest.
I don't know, guys. That seems like a waste of fucking money. I would not do that. Thor doesn't have proof that he is a seasoned and skilled game designer. He's made some shit, but he's not made... You know, to Tony's point, he's not Kojima. He hasn't made something that's a cultural inflection point. He's made some games and shipped them. That means he knows how to make games. I don't think it means he knows how to design games well. That's what I'm saying. So if you're taking a game design course from Thor, I would spend my money elsewhere. Software in games is extremely challenging, but if you're pushing boundaries, but it also can be a mindless drone. Yeah. So if you're doing, if you're working for like a healthcare company or like an insurance company or something like that, right? Like that's not going to be super fun work, but it'll be a really good job. It's going to be 9 to 5. You can set it down, walk away, and like you'll have a good work-life balance, and you'll probably get paid really well. You're not going to be challenged all the time, but it's a good job.
While we're talking, I'm just going to show too some stuff that's free or that I think is actually worth spending your money on, just in this vein. So like if you're new to Unreal and you want to learn how to use Unreal and just kind of like make some stuff that doesn't look totally horrible right away, I really think that this YouTube channel is probably one of the best places to learn that right now. They have some very high quality tutorials and content that specifically are around kind of like visuals and you know, movie production style things and kind of more basic use of the engine for modeling and rendering and stuff like that. So that's a really good place to start. If you want to go deeper on the programming side of things, you definitely should go and take the Stephen Ulibarri Udemy courses. These are generally very affordable. If you just look around for some discount coupons, a lot of them are like $10. These are extremely high quality. I think they're really good, and I've taken
that dude's great.
At least some of them part of the way through, and I've learned a lot every single time. They get very deep and are very lengthy, but again, you can probably get this for $10 if you look around for a coupon code. I think he has a Discord where you can always go to get coupon codes as well. But all of these are going to be really helpful. This one kind of goes into some new UE5 things like world partition and the gameplay ability system. And he has a new one. I just saw on Twitter this morning that he has like a new multiplayer course that I think just came out today that might not even be on here yet, but that'll definitely be one that I'm going to check out. And then he has some older ones that talk about making FPSs and a lot of C++ focused stuff. If you're, you know, already a little more familiar with Unreal, but you want to learn C++ better, he has a lot of really good options for that as well. So those are the two that I tend to point people at first. And then if you want to learn things like There's this one called Code Like Me that I always end up on that I think is pretty good, and they're very lengthy and sometimes can be hard to follow. But if you want to kind of get an idea of like how to make just about any mechanic for any game in Unreal, this dude probably has a video that you could use as like a jumping off point. There's thousands of videos. I mean, he has everything from inventories to reactive grass systems to landscape materials to portals to making an RTS. You name it, like literally thousands of videos in here. They're pretty good. It's a little more amateur production quality, and sometimes the mic is really not super good, but I've followed tons of these tutorials, so I think that's another good place. And then there's one called CG How that I always go to for Niagara specifically. So if you ever want to learn like cool VFX or Niagara systems, this guy's super good. All these people that I'm talking about too have Patreons where, like, if you don't feel like following the tutorial, you can subscribe to their Patreons and they just have the project files with them done on there. And sometimes I'll do that if like it's a 3-hour tutorial and I just need one part of it or something. I'm happy to support these guys with, you know, $10-15 just so I can look at their code. And yeah, so just know that these resources are out there before you take like the Unreal course that Vince was talking about. That's like the official Epic Games one, several $1,000s, limited list, hard to get into. Probably going to teach you a lot of the same things you could learn in a YouTube video. And there's a lot like that. I saw this like game performance optimization one that I think was like by Tom Lumen or something that was like $2,000. It just seems insane. And again, like I think it would probably be a very detailed, straightforward walkthrough of how to do a lot of things that you could learn yourself on YouTube. But I do not think it is worth that much money. That's insane.
Yeah. To touch back on the game design curriculum and all that stuff, Progsy says also in Japan, they don't have game designers. They have what they call planners instead. That's my point. Nobody really knows what game design is yet. It's for some reason become a position. I understand why as a game designer, because you need someone thinking about that shit who's like dedicated to it and like, you know, they're good at that specific thing, but not everyone is a good game designer. It's not really a good role to promote someone from like QA into. Richard Garriott did a famous interview about how most game designers suck. I think he's based for saying that. I think he explained it really well too. So it's worth thinking about game design from that perspective. There are amazing free courses online for everything. I'd say have a look around for some. Mix some tutorials and on how to get started. You should be okay. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what Tony does a lot of. He's really, really good at that. I'm admittedly really bad.
Aziel Arts got mentioned too. That one I mean, I guess I probably sent that to you the other day, Turning Cog, didn't I? But I've been following that dude almost every day lately, trying to do like the landscape and the world design and stuff like that. Yeah, so this is another one. If you want to get into PCG or you want to make like really cool looking environments and kind of learn how some of the landscape tools and stuff in Unreal work a little better, this is a really good channel. I've really been enjoying this one. So this is definitely I think he has one of the better kind of like beginner explanations of world partition that is worth watching here if you just kind of like don't understand the concepts and want to figure it out a little better. Unfortunately, just nobody goes into here's what you need to do if you're making a game so that things will be performant. That doesn't exist on YouTube. Sometimes I think that Vince and I need to make it, but
yeah,
I'm still figuring out all of the pieces, but I definitely know a lot more than I did when I started this because there's nothing. It's insane.
Oh, okay, good. Queen Anne agreed. She said, yup, I totally agree. The dynamic rose me the wrong way, but I wanted to ask what your opinions were there. Yeah, I appreciate that you asked that instead of like just making a statement and like, you know, because we had a long conversation about it. It's awesome. So thank you. Adder likes to listen to game post-mortems and behind the scenes DVDs. Watch docs from NoClip. Yeah, dude, that's all really good shit.
NoClip is great. These guys make super high quality documentaries about the development of video games, and some of these are so cool. I've watched most of them over time. Some of the more recent ones I definitely haven't checked out, but there is really, really interesting insights into just, you know, if you're an indie dev and you want to know, you know, what it could look like if your game pops off or something, you can go watch the making of Choo Choo Charles. I thought that was really interesting. And they have vampire survivors, and it's with a puppet that stands in for the developer because that guy doesn't reveal his face and has never shared his identity with anybody. And yeah, just really good stuff. So this is a great place to kind of just more immerse yourself into the culture and kind of, you know, history of game dev and stuff like that. I really enjoy it.
Monkey Man says universities don't do merit-based scholarships in their country, so they get proper cooked. Yeah, that fucking sucks. Let's see. You guys are chatting about a few things with landscapes. Yeah, Tony knows
flower is not one I know of. Let me see this. Okay, that's cool. I'm definitely gonna check this out.
Turning Cog says I saw some YouTube vids and was like, "Oh shit, I talked to that guy." What guy do you talk to?
I think he's talking about mocap.
Oh yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, mocap the goat.
And this guy does stuff in Unity and Unreal. What a goat, dude. That's crazy.
I just read Adder said that he's taking Thor's class on software engineering. Oh, bro.
How to make a 10,000 line if statement that controls your entire dialogue system.
That's some really good shade, Tony. I appreciate that. I was going to submit a game to the publisher he works at, and the intake form had some really weird and sus things that made me nope out really hard. Yeah, Queen Anne, be careful.
Off-brand games.
Yeah,
he doesn't work there anymore, but yeah.
Yep, he stepped away because of the controversy. He was bringing negativity to the brand.
Off-brand games is owned by the streamer Ludwig, and yeah, Pirate Software was supposed to be their director or something like that, and he had to step away because they're just getting review bombed so hard due to the fact that Pirate Software worked there that they decided it was for the best.
I threw a couple links in the chat. I'll do it again because I know we got some new people around here. We only stream 4 hours a week, so we're actually getting close to wrapping up the stream for the day. We do two hours today and 2 hours tomorrow. Today's more focused on like how to build games, you know, technology, tools, all that stuff. We talk a little bit about the game industry. Tomorrow is usually playing a game with the community. I think tomorrow we're probably going to play Myco Punk. Does that sound good, Tony?
I'm down. Yeah.
Because Tony and I have been playing it and we've been having fun. So I think it'd be good to talk about the game design of that. So when we play games, they're kind of a let's play format, but community is welcome. You guys can come play with us if you have the game. But I try to focus on like why they made a thing the way they made it, talking about how the different pieces of the game like work together, and talk about the game design meat of the game. That's what I try to focus on.
Here's an article just talking about Pirate Software leaving Stop Killing Games. He had made a statement. I'm no longer working there. People were attacking all the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. Apparently the community note says it's not even true, and that the only one being review bombed is Heartbound, but not sure about that. Interesting. I was looking at that pitch your game forum though. Somebody said they thought the forum was
yeah, Queen Anne was saying that
weird. Yeah, so they got some normal stuff. Please link in your relevant gameplay footage, size of your dev team, and then we go into what previous experience do you and or your dev team have in the gaming industry? What are you and your development? Where are you located? Describe your game's hook in one sentence. Please list other games that your project is comparable to. Select all of the player experiences from your game that apply. Describe the planned business model of your game. Do you plan to release the game in early access? What is your planned release date? Has your game been announced publicly? Link to your Steam page. How many Steam wish lists do you have? Link any social media accounts. What engine are you using required? What platforms are you planning to release on? How much capital investment are you looking for? How much are you looking to raise and will you use the funds for? What areas are you looking for publisher support in? What excites you about working with off-brand games? Do you have any licensing or legal contracts related to your game? Is there anything else you would like us to know?
Which parts were sussing you out, Queen Anne? I'm just curious. The thing for me is the investment structure is very small. That I think is weird. From like $1,000 to 1 million plus is kind of crazy. I don't know how you can build a game today without just a lot of luck and experience with like less than 1 million, depending on the market you're targeting. If you're building an indie game only releasing on Steam, yeah, you can make it for under $1 million bucks. But hiring a team of people, like this is the crazy thing. Like people don't understand investment and how it works. That's a loan. You're getting money from someone else to do a thing. and then you have to repay it. You got to give the money
If
back.
anything, you're probably selling them some stake in your company too, and
Yep.
you can never ever get that back.
Yes.
And you're probably selling it to them for like a bad deal on your end. Like they're getting a really good deal on it, and you're kind of getting fucked.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean, Queen Anne. They're kind of asking you to give them your game in the highest level way possible with no promise of anything else. They could literally just steal your shit and make it instead. If you're making something that is, I'm not worried about it as much as a game designer because I understand a lot of it is an execution. But if you have a simple idea and you're trying to build something small, this is kind of scary because I feel like they could just steal your shit and go make it and beat you to market. There were some gotcha style questions. Yeah,
it does seem like, I don't know, like I understand the necessity of a lot of these things, but some of them feel a little like gatekeepy, I guess. Which, like, I get, like, you don't necessarily want to work with a team that has like no experience and might potentially like completely drop the ball after you give them money. I get that for sure.
Turning cog, don't worry about it. The last week thing was just a mistake. It was not, and I couldn't, like, we barely ban anyone. We just banned bots, so it was an accident. A mod did it, and I had to go fix it and figure it out because we don't have negative people in here talking shit, so we don't have a need to ban anyone. So I never had to unban anyone. It was just weird. So don't worry about it.
You think they got some logic on this form that says if engine is Unreal, auto reject?
Yup. Computer Q asked if we do game jam stuff. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I haven't had a lot of fun doing game jam things. A lot of the time you half bake something that doesn't really come together well. It's a rare game jam that you get like peak and you can make a game and put it in market. That's very rare.
Some, like, friends who knew what they were doing and wanted to come game jam with us sometime, and it was more than just me and Vince, I would probably be into it. But we would need to have a good idea going in. I wouldn't want to make the idea the day of the game jam. I would want to go in and we've had this idea for a while. This game jam will be a really good opportunity to spend some time on it. We have some cool people who know what they're doing, who want to help us out. We got a plan put together. Let's try it out. Like, I would absolutely be into that, and just kind of try to tell ourselves, like, we're not going to keep working on this when the jam is over, unless it's like really cool for some reason. But, I'm trying really hard not to like work on side projects or anything right now and just focus on Hyperskate.
So Queen Anne was saying it's the unprofessionalism of the form with a question that's, oh God, I just need friends, please option. That's fair. Yeah, that's weird. Like when you're in a, so this is the other strange thing. No worries. I think when you have a smaller, newer publisher like Off-Brand and it's being run by a streamer, right? Like the streamer is the main investor and like the main stakeholder in the success of that business. They don't know what they're doing. They've never done it before. So I would be just really cautious and skeptical. Like, yeah, of course, you stand a higher chance of getting swindled if you don't know what you're doing and you're dealing with someone who does know what they're doing and they have an army of lawyers and all that. But I don't know. It just seems sus. Oh, Turning Cog, you're okay. Don't worry about it. Tony and I are the arbiters of the channel, so you're fine, dude. We like you here. You're great. I'm trying to figure out how I was wanting to articulate that. Oh God, I just need friends with a small investment structure for the amount of money that they can give is worrisome. It does seem like they're trying to take advantage of inexperienced people who are just trying to make shit and they don't really know the path here. So when you get into deals, they're very serious, and making it kind of like tongue in cheek is off-putting. And I can kind of see what you're talking about. Like, if they're not taking it seriously, why should you take them seriously? And I totally agree with that sentiment. I think it's weird that they have all of these as required questions when I would have this intake form being opt-in, and it would be required that a follow-up interview occur under NDA and other related contracts as per industry norm. Yes, Adder. Yes. And Queen Anne totally agrees. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we're on the same page here. It is definitely sussy. It does feel like a gotcha, but on the flip side, I'd probably skip this intake form altogether and pitch them via email with minimal info and force a video call. Yeah. So Queen Anne, if you want to still pursue them as a publisher and you want a publishing deal, you could probably do that. I think that would be a better way. And if they don't respond to you, then you've confirmed your concerns. But also remember that you don't need to actually interact with these people. It sounds like you've got a team and you're building something really cool and you're making a lot of progress. So, I mean, like, if you want to talk about it, what are your thoughts on like why you would even need a publishing deal? I'm just curious there. And if you're like, well, we're running out of money and it's really scary, like you don't have to out yourself in that way. I'm not trying to get you to like, bear the skeletons in your closet or anything. Just trying to give you good advice. I know a better way to do it. I'll reframe it. I'll talk about our experience, like what we're doing. So I had a lot of pitch meetings and, interacted with a bunch of publishers and different people in the beginnings of Fractal Grove before we started live streaming. And the whole reason we did the live stream is because I was like, we could just fucking do this ourselves. Giving people a cut of the thing or signing an exclusivity deal or, spending all of my time chasing investment would lead us down a path of we've got enough money to make a game, but we may not have enough money to make another game. And we don't know if the publisher or our partner is going to take everything that we get so that we can't make another game. So even if we release Hyperskate in a way that it is highly profitable and it's successful and we want to do another game, we're back on the treadmill of trying to sign a deal with someone else to make another game. And that's the situation I think if you can avoid from the onset, you'll be much better set up for success in the future with other projects. So staying lean, trying to figure out how to do stuff as cheaply as possible, not at the expense of your employees and your team, of course, obviously that's really bad, for the sake of profits. But like, yeah, there's a lot of considerations. It's very difficult trying to run a business and start a business. So I think those are things that I think about. And that's why I'm like, let's try to crowdfund this. I don't want to do a Kickstarter or like an Indiegogo or anything like that, because I know a lot of people who've done those. I've seen people do them poorly and they've completely tanked their brand and had to relaunch their company under a different name, all kinds of stuff like that. There's a lot of pitfalls you can run into.
Yeah, I occasionally will read the game dev subreddit, and there are tons of posts that happen all the time from people that are basically just like, I got fucked by a publisher, here's the story. And every time I read one, it just makes me go, I will never, ever accept a deal from a publisher, probably. Like, it does not seem worth it.
Addard says, if I'm asking someone to give me a fuckload of money for a new business venture, I want to get to know them as much as they should probably want to get to know me.
That's very true.
Never know when they pull the rug and force you to prematurely pay them back and screw everyone involved on your end. Yes, that's a real risk that almost nobody talks about. And I would almost say, granted, this is just some, editorial here, but I would say the reason people don't talk about that shit is because they're trying to maintain that positive relationship. And if you say anything as true as it might be, slightly negative, and it's out there and you get a lot of attention for it, they will never fucking work with you again. And if your business model is predicated on, we have to get investment funds, you've tainted that pool and you're fucked and you have to figure something else out entirely.
Yep.
Your company might go under at that point. So it's all this really like glad handing and just bullshit that I don't want to deal with. I just want to make games. Like, that's what I want to do. So Tony and I are in a very fortunate position where we can do this for a very extended period of time and be okay. We're not going to lose our houses. Our marriages aren't going to fall apart. Nothing like that. Right. So like, don't put all your fucking eggs in the basket of like, we have to succeed, otherwise my life is over. Right. Like, you need contingency plans. You need to be careful. Like, you think about all this shit. It's very fun and exciting at the start, but when you get like a year in, that's when it starts getting really hard. When you're in the middle of a project, that's when it gets really hard. When you get to closing a project, it's hard in different ways, but the beginning is always really fun and exciting. We left those skeletons on the mountain. Yes, we did. The biggest thing is financing. We're not going to have the money to finish it for sure without it. So we're looking at other ways to get money, crowdfunding, business loans, etc. Be careful with a business loan. Not that, I don't know that you would necessarily even be able to get a small business loan for a software company. I think banks are just reluctant to do that. You have to present like a very solid business model to convince a lender
or collateral or something fun like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really scary. So unfortunately, that's why we're doing what we do with Fractal Grove, is we're trying to change the shape of this industry and how it works and prove that there's another fucking way to do this that isn't playing the old game that obviously has problems. If you look at AAA right now, it's very clear that none of this shit is sustainable, and it's built on a house of cards and it's falling apart. So we're trying a different way. Now is the best time for indies to do their thing, and that's the road that we're going down. That's the goal that we're chasing. So yeah, that's why we're doing what we're doing. I feel you, Queen Anne. That's got to feel really stressful to be like, I don't think we can finish unless we can get some seed money. I feel you. That's why we're in a position where I've said, like, we can't pay, because we can't. Like, neither Tony nor I are actually taking any money from the business at this point. Everything's going into operations costs. So for like server hosting and licensing fees and stuff like that, that's all the money's going straight into that. I would love to get to a point where we can pay team members first and we have a functioning business. And when all of that is working and like we're building momentum and we have multiple projects going, then we can pay ourselves. That's the goal. That's like the first major goal. So yeah, Hyperskate is one of those games that we're trying to build to release and get us a solid revenue stream. But so is the live streaming content, which, by the way, we're really close. We need more watch hours on YouTube. So if you guys want to farm us some watch hours, it'll help a lot. And then we can monetize YouTube and we can start making money off of that as well. So it's not just donations from you guys. But yeah, we're a game studio. Tony and I are the co-founders of the studio. We're doing the risky thing of putting ourselves out there. And, you know, when you're live streaming and you're a face on the internet, people have opinions and they start asking you shit and like pulling out, you know, everything they can and to try to ruin your career, just like they did with Thor. And to be fair, like Thor kind of did that to himself. It's weird, but we're taking that risk, and I feel confident that we're going to be fine. We'll be okay. And we just need to blow up a little bit and then we'll be set. We'll be solid. In talking to investors, one of the things that we can say is, you know, it's a small flex, but we are a 3 figures profitable company. we actually make money from the streams, but it's not very much. It's a very small amount. It's not enough to pay, you know, like cost of living stuff. Like we can't buy groceries or beer or anything with it, you know, like it doesn't work that way. It's more like the business stays open because it makes enough money to sustain itself. So that's where we're at. YouTube is sketchy, full of rickrolls and old memes. Yeah. Let's see. We're looking to finish our vertical slice because that's something we need for any kind of investment. Yep. Kickstarter is only good if you have eyes ready. Yeah. So Kickstarter is an entirely different thing, guys. I have a really close friend who I worked with at a company called Sphero in Colorado. We made a robot and software product. I was a designer for them. My buddy, who was the software director when I was there, he has funded or successfully run like 6 Kickstarter campaigns. And that's like the 1% of all Kickstarters. Like the majority of them fail. So there's a whole set of things you have to do to make a Kickstarter successful. The downsides can be pretty bad. Like I was saying, you know, I know someone who had to reboot their entire brand. Their shit just basically failed because of Kickstarters that people were calling scams. Yeah, you got to avoid that shit. Be really careful. LFQ likes YouTube because it's sketchy. Nice. LFQ, did you catch my Dutch comment? I hope you did. If you didn't, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I think we're about to wrap up. Tony, you want to explain anything else about this blueprint you're working on before we get it going?
No, I was trying to clean it up. I didn't really like the way that the blueprint assist formatted it. Like if I do this, I don't know. I don't find that as easy to read as what I got going on here. So I was just trying to clean it up a little bit myself. I noticed. What did I say? Oh, I wanted to bring up just real quick because I was reminded of it when I went upstairs that the Star Wars Outlaws devs are saying that the reason that their game didn't do well is because there's a waning interest in the Star Wars franchise.
Interesting.
Like them making a game that wasn't very good. It's not their fault.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, not great. That's for sure. And like you could also go like, don't get me fucking started on this one, but it's like maybe there's waning interest in the Star Wars franchise because you guys keep making really terrible stuff with it. Like,
yep.
I don't know, like
mismanagement of the IP.
Yeah, and it's like in your game that isn't very good, I think would contribute directly to that, if anything. So
I feel like that statement came out of like a business analyst post-mortem meeting where they pulled like focus group studies and all kinds of shit like that, and they like looked at it and they were like, "Oh, people just don't like Star Wars. It wasn't your fault." And that's the type of statement you make.
CEO. Yep, there you go.
Oh, it was the Ubisoft CEO? Yeah. So this was probably like an investor meeting or like a board meeting or some shit like that, and they used this as data, and that was probably a public call because it's a publicly traded company. And so someone grabbed that information and said, "Oh, that's why." Yeah, there you go. Ubisoft recently held its annual shareholders meeting. That's where that statement comes from.
And yeah, like what LFQ said. It's like, oh, so it's everybody else's fault that your game didn't perform well. Okay, got it.
Well, when you're talking to the money people, you got to tell them that, because if you say it's us, we fucked up, then they go, cool, we're not giving you money anymore. Shut it down. It's the way that shit goes.
I have heard a lot of people say that this game got a lot of post-launch support and it made it a lot better than it was when it first came out, which is probably a little too late. But I have heard a lot of people say that, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but they probably lost their ass on this game. I bet it was very expensive to make.
Yep, just in licensing with Disney.
Yep.
Who is even buying Ubi games right now? Bro, I don't even know, man. Yeah, Ubi is like crashing out bad.
They really are. I feel like every single article about them is just kind of like Ubisoft said something really out of touch and fucked up about the gaming industry.
Yep. Star Wars Outlaws turning cog. Yeah, that game. It's funny because I have a friend who, like, this dude loves games. He's always positive on games, especially new games. And he was like, I loved it. It was great. And I'm like, what did you like about it? And he's like, I don't know. It was cool. Star Wars. So I feel like I've never heard anyone say anything positive about Star Wars Outlaws, but that's just me.
Yeah, the only people who said positive things about it were streamers who were playing it when it came out, who were very, very, very clearly being paid to say things about it. And that just made me even more suspect of it from the get-go.
Yeah, LFQ, I'm generally positive about games too, but like, I'm also going to be honest. I mean, you guys who've been around long enough know that I will just say some shit and be like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. So like, I'm going to be honest, like first and foremost. That's just how I am as a person. I understand that carries a lot of risk with it, but yeah, I agree, LFQ, my man. Well, should we wrap it up, Tony? I got to get going to a thing here in like an hour or so. Yeah. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to be playing Mycopunk. How would you describe it? I would say it's kind of like a Borderlands
Deep Rock Galactic, kind of like Left 4 Dead, maybe?
Yeah. Like yeah, I think that's fair. I like it more than Deep Rock. I didn't like Deep Rock, so.
Yep, I agree. I think we're finally getting to the point too where it starts to become really fun. Like we were playing last night and we were just, I think, kind of on the precipice of getting like really OP and having some like really crazy stuff start happening. So
yeah,
but it's kind of a fun like thing to play with your friends. I wouldn't go as far as friend swap with this one, but it definitely kind of feels like,
yeah,
it's not super deep, and it's definitely designed to be like played in multiplayer and
friend-like, would you say?
Yeah, maybe, for sure.
Yeah, LFQ. I was also a No Man's Sky launch enjoyer. I thought that game caught undue hate, but that's just me. Dude definitely said some shit he couldn't back up with the shipped game, so a little bit of this.
They turned around and made all of it happen and more. So they're like one of the only companies that's ever done that. You gotta give them props for that one.
Well, sweet. Thank you, everyone, for coming to hang out. Thank you, new people. Thank you for the follow, Progsy. Thank you for the bits, LFQ. Thank you for the chat. Like, you guys have been awesome. It was a great conversation today. Loved it. Yeah. If you guys want to know more and you want to chat with us more, the Discord is relatively active. So, like, go hop in there. I dropped it a couple times, but if you guys want to share something that you're working on, we also welcome that. Yeah, we're all about like helping people make their games real and do the thing that they want to do. So cool. We love you guys.
You want to talk about more level design and world partition stuff ever, just let me know. I know I sent you a bunch of material the other day, so let me know if you actually have questions or anything like that. I'm happy to help.
Oh yeah, we should chain the raid. Who should we raid, guys?
You guys just never know who to raid, so if you guys have somebody in mind that we should raid, happy to do it.
We are admittedly bad streamers because we're not professional streamers. We fuck this up all the time. So we got the technical problems ironed out in the first year. So we're doing a lot better now. We don't have like, weird issues with the stream anymore. So but yeah, if you guys have a raid target suggestion, let us know and we'll send you guys over there.
Yeah, you guys got to pick somebody or I'm doing Team Vash. So
oh, Adder's going to be happy with the Team Vash raid.
First name I see is who we're raiding. Somebody give me one.
Come on, guys. You can do it.
And actually, Vince is going to have to do it because I'm not.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to do it. Turning Cog wants us to raid Haha Reindeer and Silverhand. I'm kidding. Those are emotes. I got nothing. All right. It's okay. Don't worry about it. If you guys like, we will try to do.
Don't know who to share it to at this point. So
yeah, we'll try to do better at this in the future. It's something that we always forget. But yeah,
let me go. I'm just gonna go in software and game dev, see if anything looks interesting real quick.
Okay, cool. I need to get it past the initial point with some shit more than a landscape and a starter content car, and then I'll hit you up, Tony. Okay, cool. Thank you, Turning Cog.
Absolutely, dude. I don't know, man.
let me go look too. Let's see what's in this category.
You can just pick a random one that has low viewers.
We could raid Lana.
Yeah, I just feel like Lana doesn't need our raid. She's like the biggest person in the category. Really show the love.
Yeah.
Like people do for us.
Pirate is the biggest, but yeah.
No, that doesn't count.
You guys want to go raid Pirate?
Lana's a real one.
Yeah, Lana's awesome. Well, fuck it.
Yeah,
fuck it.
We would have done it for you, but.
Oh yeah, absolutely, mocap. Anytime you're live, like because I feel like our schedule by this, by now. If you go live, so we like to shill Brightside on Thursdays because I really like Brightside. He's awesome and his streams are really fun, but he doesn't start until like 2 hours after our stream ends. So if you're live after we're live at any point, just hit us up in Discord, like send us a DM or something, and we will raid you for sure.
Cog says Imitation Tina. That does look like some Unreal happening there. So we can do
let's go. Yeah, let's go. Imitation Tina.
Yep.
All right. Search. We go Imitation Tina. Come on. There we go. All right, we got 10 seconds and then we're going over there, guys.
All right, thanks everybody. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you for some Michael Punk. 1 second, Tony. We got 2 seconds. All right, raid is going.